Hello, everyone. Welcome to another My Music. We're really into the swing of things now in 2025. I feel like now we've got to the end of this week. I'm fully immersed and back in it. I don't know about you, Molly. Molly's my guest today. Are you now fully back into the swing of
Yeah,
2024?
I think so. It seems to have been a lot of meetings this week and catching up and stuff because you seem to pause life for like 2 weeks,
I know.
which is lovely to have a reset. But that first week back of January is just a bit like, you kind of get into it, but I don't know if I'm ready for it.
I have to tell you that I didn't have 2 weeks. So I finished sort of midway through Christmas Eve, and then I was kind of straight back to it sort of day after Christmas as well. So it is, and it was off and on. I had a little bit of time off and whatever, but I completely lost track of time.
Yeah, you do. Completely. You don't know what day it is. You don't know what
mental
time it is.
It's so much easier when Christmas Day is on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Midweek
Christmas, very confusing.
Yeah. So it's almost like jet lag, I feel.
Yeah.
For anyone that's ever experienced that, that's what it felt like. We will be talking to Molly all about her life in music straight after this.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
Now, the good side of having Christmas, or the bad side, depending on which way you look at it, is that for weeks afterwards, you have things like this left around the house.
Yeah.
Have you managed to kind of avoid overeating at Christmas, or
No?
no?
I consumed a lot of cheese and probably a little bit
Love
too
it.
much Baileys and red wine, but hey ho.
I hate to ask sort of daft sort of base questions on this show about sort of inanimate stuff and whatever. But what is your favourite cheese?
Oh, now that is a big question. That is a big question. I'm going to go for something like I'm going to go for a Gouda.
And it's got to be. Has it? So is it got to be sort of more towards the rubbery texture side of things, or the softer texture side of things?
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot here. This is these are big questions.
It is big question. I love my cheese. I do
love cheese, to be fair. Yeah, it's either a Gouda or my other favourite is a smoked cheese. I love a smoked cheese as well.
Like an apple would.
Yeah.
Do you like quite a nice nutty kind of smoky? Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Back in the day, folks, when I used to drink alcohol, I don't anymore. And that's just a choice thing. And I don't judge anyone either way on that. But I have to say, we really enjoyed as a band nothing more than finishing a gig in the evening, going back and eating a whole applewood with a nice Jim Beam, and there we go.
Yeah,
they go together very well indeed.
They do. I'll second that.
There you go. So Molly, I mean, you stood out like a sore thumb for me on Instagram, which is where I found you. I don't always find my artist on Instagram. I PR companies send me artists to interview. I've got some pluggers that send me people. I try and find people myself that I like, but you just your profile stood out, like you look like this big personality, and I thought maybe you are a big personality behind all of it as well, but your songs are big as well. So where does that all come from? Where does that confidence come from? Is it real, or are you quite a shy person behind the
No, I've definitely grown in confidence over the years. I mean, when I was a kid, I was quite a quiet kid. But I think being a musician, you kind of find yourself over the years and find where you kind of fit in. And that gives you confidence, it's a hard industry to be in, and you've got to push through a little bit harder than others.
Yeah.
So it's kind of where it's come from. Yeah, I think I am a quite a confident person, I'd say.
Cool. I like that. And in terms of sort of growing up and whatever, when did you first start getting interested in music as maybe as a listener and whatever? And were there any stars back in the day that sort of made you
Oh,
want,
yeah.
I want to do that?
Yeah, massively. So I've always been into music. I come from a family that, we've listened to music all my life. It's always been a big part of, going to watch music, going to watch gigs and going to other places, seeing live music. It's always been a big part of my life. So I picked up the guitar when I was 10.
Wow.
Yep. And it all kind of started from there. So I think I'd be about, let me have a little think. I think I'd be about 12, probably around 12 or 14. I got my, I had my first guitar. It was like my proper first, other than, borrowing guitars off friends and all that kind of jazz. And, I got my first electric guitar.
Wow.
And I now play acoustic guitar mainly. But I got my first electric guitar and it was red. And I loved it. And I went and go and picked it at the shop and it was a birthday present. And there was my biggest inspiration is an artist called Katie Tunstall, who I am a massive fan of. And she just brought out her album, Eye to the Telescope. And it just kind of like skyrocketed from there. I was just like, I want to be her. I want to do what she does. And yeah, there's been many artists over the years. I'm a massive Fleetwood Mac fan as well. Stevie Nicks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been several people that have inspired me over the years, but it was that kind of moment when I saw Katie Tunstall. She'd just done the Jules, I think it was a Jules Holland
Jules
show.
Holland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Horse and Cherry Tree.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And that kind of was me. I was off.
It's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, for a lot of people, younger people out there that perhaps don't know this, I mean, she was like the big inspiration for Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Loop pedals or whatever, because that was her performance on Jules was her guitar loop pedal doing Black Horse and Cherry Tree, hitting the guitar, making the drum noise, etc. as well, and building that song up with the woohoos in the background. Yeah, it was just so different, wasn't it?
So different. Yeah, it was just like, honestly, I can remember sitting there for the first time and being like wow, like it just took my breath away. I loved it. But yeah, she kind of brought the loop pedal out and did all that.
Yeah. Have you been to see her many times in concert?
Yeah. I'm actually going to see her at the end of the month as well.
How are you?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Now she did an album last year with Suzi Quatro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you now sort of retrospectively kind of become a fan of Suzi as well? Are you?
Yeah. Always. Was a big fan of Suzi Quatro anyway, but kind of you kind of grow and you can see where the inspirations come from for her, and it's like any that singer songwriter, our kind of vibe. You kind of gather with other people like Joni Mitchell and like Suzi Quatro and obviously Katie Tunstall and all them kind of singer songwriters with the guitar. I think you just naturally love.
Yeah. She's had quite a time of it in her life, Katie Tunstall. And she had a very rough period when, her and her husband split up and whatever as well. What do you find it easier to write about good times, or do you find it easier to write when you're in a bad place with stuff?
It's a bit of a mixture, really. I try to write songs that have a more positive spin on life than I was writing like about heartbreak and things that might be sad. I do try and write more positive songs. Like I like my songs to give more of an uplifting feel to them. That's the vibe of my songs. Like I do tend to write more positive, uplifting songs. But whether it's harder, it's a tough question, really. I think you write to express yourself, don't you?
Yes.
Just like you write a diary or.
Yeah. Well, you write because you need to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess even if my songs may be about heartbreak, I try to make them a little bit more uplifting. So even if I was writing when I was, going through a bit of heartbreak or something was terrible going on in my life, or feeling a bit more sad, then I do try and take more of like a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
And make it feel a bit more uplifting.
Do you have a place where you write? Is there
right
right there? Is
Yeah,
this the inner sanctum, is it?
yeah, this is kind of my music room. But I try to mix it up as well. I try to go to different places to write. When I was younger, I obviously lived at home with my mum and dad, so I still go home and I've got a music room there as well, because it's just mixing up.
Love
You get a
that.
bit bored of just the one space, don't you?
Yeah.
Sitting in
Yeah.
one room gets boring.
Well, when you say you sit there to write, I mean, are you writing lyrics there first, or are you doodling on the guitar? What tends to happen in which order, or is it a mix?
It's a bit of a mix, really. Like, I'm mad. I kind of, my voice notes on my phone, I looked at them the other day and it's like 800 voice notes on my phone.
Wow! Don't lose your phone. Back it up.
Yeah, and it's like me just like just random voice notes, and whether that's me on a walk or wherever, of just ideas. And then I do take them to my guitar and kind of bring them out, have a little mess around with them. But yeah, my voice notes. So when I looked the other day, I was like, oh my gosh.
We
Wow.
actually had that. We had that with a musician that was on here once, and they said that they'd lost all of their voice notes from their phone, etc. So be careful, folks. If that's what you do,
I do have them backed up on my laptop as well, so it's not
back
too bad.
them up somewhere, because otherwise, that's disastrous, isn't it?
And it's good to go back on them. You know, writer's block is a thing, whether that's in music or whether that's in anything. You do get blocks. So, you know, going back to songs that you might have been starting to write a year ago or 2 years ago is good.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to do that.
I've talked about this lots of times on this, but I think it's really important to create a space where you deliberately have to do something as an artist. Even though you want art to come from a place where, you know, it feels natural and it's coming out of a kind of creative process or whatever. But sometimes you just need to at least create a space where there's an expectation of you to do something, just so that you keep the muscle going. You know, so for me, I do a certain thing at about 7 o'clock every single morning. That's it. You know, and I think that's kind of important. I heard Chris Martin talking about he writes down like stuff that he wants to sort of like give up into the world the other day. He does that every day for about 10 minutes. He says, you know, there's stuff like, if he's angry about stuff or whatever, he writes it all down and then gives it up, so that he's
I guess it's the idea of almost like, and it's if you want something, like manifesting about it is meant to be, you're meant to get there sooner. And it's that idea, isn't it? If you write it down, you've like solidified it, you've got to do it. It's there in black and white kind of thing. I get that, actually. Yeah.
For me, it's also about, you know, I put that out there into the world as well every morning, and it's like there's an audience waiting for it, and that's quite good. You know, people come to expect it. How do you feel about that? The relationship between what you do and an audience as well. Do you feel the expectation of, like, you know, because every artist lives by the last song that they put out there, and then if people love it and whatever, then, you know, you've then got to think, oh, is the next one going to be that, or is it going to be something different, or how?
I get what you mean. Like, there is an expectation, and there's that expectation to achieve, I guess, to do well. And as an independent artist, like I've been watching quite a few things recently, and there is that expectation to do well and to, you know, get loads of streams and you know, get radio play and all this, and it's not that easy. You know, that is that behind the scenes kind of feeling when, you know, you might have only had 10 people listening to your song, or but there is that expectation to release new music and have it do well and get the radio play and everything else like that. But that's what you do it for.
What was your best surprise in 2024? What did you put something out there and you thought, I'm not sure whether that's going to go well or be received well, and then it was, or, you know, what was your biggest surprise?
Oh, that's a tough one, actually. I did bring out a song called Overdrive, which the response to that was amazing, to be honest. The music video when it comes to music videos and like photo shoots and things like that, I'm not the most creative at things like that. It's just not my leave it to the experts kind of thing. And it was like the day before the shoot, and I had like no ideas of what I wanted to do for this video, and it just kind of I don't know how. I think it must like the whole, because it's the music videos is like split into I think like 12 little squares for overdrive, and they're all different things going on, and the whole idea of the song is that you can feel a bit burnt out sometimes and feel like you know there's so many things going around your head, and it just kind of came to me like that. And then the music video is done really well, and it's one of them things when you just think it just kind of comes to you. And I've been stressing about it for weeks as well.
Well, you see, because you got yourself almost into that burnt out state. So what you did was you kind of manifested into reality what was going on in your head. And that's why it worked.
Yeah, essentially, that is exactly what happened. And the music videos ended up doing really well. And whether that's because it's real.
Yeah.
Or it just that was. There's been several good things of 2024. You know, I've done lots of gigs and festivals and stuff like that, which is good. But those moments when you put out music and they do well, or like you make a music video and it does do well, you do get that sense of, oh, yes, it's getting somewhere.
Favorite between, this may be a hard question, sort of smaller gigs, larger gigs, festivals. What?
Oh, well, I've played my fair share of gigs. I've played to 2 people in a pub.
We've all been there.
Yeah, I've played 2 people in a pub, and I'm happy to say it. And I've played festivals where there's been thousands of people. You know, played at Shepherd's Bush in London. I've done my fair share of gigs of all range and size. And when people say, "What's your bit of advice?" Because I've been into schools as well and done talks about what I do as a musician and you know, how I've made it as a career. And I always say to take every single opportunity, to whether that is playing to 2 people in a pub, whether that's playing to thousands of people, is taking every opportunity. And
everyone like it's your last gig.
Essentially, yeah, because you don't know who's going to be in the crowd. So there's places around here when friends and family come, and it might be a small pub, like your local pub, and your friends and family come, and that's special. That's
but terrifying at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's beautiful, and you share those moments with them. And then there is the gigs where everybody dreams of, when it's thousands of people at festivals, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess every single gig kind of holds a little bit something to me.
But have you done the dream gig yet?
The dream gig?
Yeah.
My dream gig is playing at Glastonbury, and I'm yet to do that.
Right.
Yet to do that. It's on my list.
Well, I hope you do that, because Glastonbury's just down the road from me.
Ah,
that would be very convenient. We could make sure that happens. Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. So that's my dream gig, of course. But playing at Shepherd's Bush Empire in London, that was a massive tick off.
So the dream gig is Glastonbury Festival. What time of the day?
I'm going to say afternoon.
Mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
With the sun. Yeah. Because we want it quite warm, balmy, etc. We're trying to get everyone to imagine the scene now. So people on people's shoulders, flags out, etc. Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Glastonbury. It's the sun beginning to go down. It's quite warm and whatever. And in the middle of the set, who do you bring out?
Oh,
as the guest slot?
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, that's a really tough one. I'd have to be Kate Tunstall.
I was going to say Katie Tunstall. And what song do you play together?
Black Horse and the Cherry Tree.
That's it. Oh, that felt good, didn't it, for a minute?
Yeah. I've always.
I just manifested that, folks. That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
It is. I always feel like a super fan when I say things like that, because I'm like obsessed with Kate Tunstall. Like that's where it all started. But you know what? If I got to share a stage with her, I would be in awe. That would be. I'm done. Well,
Cool.
not I'm done, but like, you know,
This clip is going on Instagram. That will be one of the clips that will go on Instagram. We'll tag Katie in, and we're
yes,
trying
please do.
everybody. If you could please comment on that post and try and manifest that happen.
Yes, please do. She probably gets fed up with me tagging her in things.
I don't think she would. She's not that kind of person, is she?
No, probably. Who knows? Just this little blonde girl tagging her in things like, watch this, watch this.
Now, obviously, when I saw the name as well, I love the name Molly. It's a great name. But when I saw the name Warburton, obviously that makes everybody think of bread. You
Yeah.
get that all the time as well.
I
And of
love
course,
bread.
this week there's been a Paddy McGuinness documentary from the Warburton's factory on TV. So now
Ah.
everybody, absolutely, everybody will be thinking of that name. Have you ever thought of like playing on that in terms of, have you thought about a sponsorship? Have you?
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Because everybody literally asks me, "Are you related to the bread company?" And I'm like, "No, I wish I was. I'd get like unlimited crumpets."
But you'd like a slice of the action, wouldn't you? Hey?
Yeah, I would. I've always laughed about that, like being able to put my, like on all the vans that are driving past, if we could just put like Molly Warburton.
That would be great.
And it's that. Did you see the advert when it was like the Muppets went in?
Mm.
I was like, that would just be cool.
That would be a bit of you. That would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And massive. That's all I ever eat. Warburton's bread.
There you go. Listen, we'll tag Warburton's in as well. If anyone from Warburton's is watching and you think, well, actually, we could get Molly into an advert, maybe around summertime, sort of like playing at a festival while everybody's eating their sort of, early morning sandwiches at a festival. That would be great. They'd need to shoot it now to make it look like summer's ready for the summer, and that would be great, and that would kind of manifest it again to get it happen. What's kind of next on your agenda for this year? What kind of the big kind of goals for 2025 for you?
So I have a new song coming out. I've been working a lot on new material at the back end of last year, so I've got a new song coming out. Probably be end of Feb, start of March. The date hasn't quite been pinned in yet, but that'll be getting decided in the next few weeks. So new music, one coming out soon.
New music.
I plan to keep on releasing for the next every couple of months, every 6 weeks, every couple of months. And the aim is by October to have an EP. And then, support it with like a headline shows around the UK, probably a small tour. It's a plan. But,
I've just had it. Right, look, I run a marketing company. This happens a lot on this show. And if you watch some of these back, you'll get this, right? But I suddenly have a brainwave. And some artists then go and do it. So, this one's a freebie. So you need merch.
Yeah.
Everybody needs merch. You need T-shirts with, I want a slice of Molly Warburton on it, right? And then on the back, there's a loaf, you see, right?
That is good, actually.
It is good, right? And then because of that might actually attract the attention of Warburton's, and then we could perhaps get them involved in that, and then that could go somewhere.
Then I'll be rolling in the dough.
Then you
I've heard them all.
Not the deep, but rolling in the dough. Yeah, that'd be good. I want I love a slice of Molly Warburton. That would be great.
I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
It's lovely. Do you think are you surprised by who listens to your music?
Yeah. Because when you go on Spotify for artists as well, it's always amazing. Have you been on Spotify for artists? Obviously, when you go onto it, and it's like, 10 people are listening to you right now. That is weird. That's always madness. And you're like, oh my god, 10 people are listening to me right now, and you're like, what? That's always crazy. But looking at like who actually listens to you, and a few people sent me their Spotify Wrapped as being their top artists, which is always lovely.
Do you love that wrapped thing at the end of the year?
It's nice, yeah. I
It's
do
weird.
like it.
It's kind of a little bit competitive as well.
Yeah.
But I quite enjoy it, and I'm always gobsmacked. I mean, I started this just for because I needed to do it really,
Yeah.
as much as anything else. It doesn't directly make me any money like the rest of my work does. But yeah, I'm genuinely surprised. And when like this year, when I got to the end, and it's like you're in the top 20% of video content on Spotify that people watch. It's like, why? What are they up? What's the matter with these people?
Like, what are they doing? Yeah,
But it's nice, you know.
it is lovely. It's nice to know that people are actually connecting with it.
Yeah. But I do you know what? I think, and I would say this to other people that are out there as well, you know, so many people get just put off starting something. Just if whether it's picking up a guitar and making music, or you know, plugging in a synthesizer and making music, or you know, literally fiddling around on the keyboard and in Pro Tools or whatever and making music, or whether it's, you know, do your own podcast or draw your first picture or paint your first painting or whatever, just do it. I mean, the worst that can happen is that nobody else likes it other than you. I mean that, but ultimately, as long as you're happy with it, then that's the key, isn't it? I think. You know, and you listen to I don't know whether you ever heard that interview with Rick Rubin, the famous record producer, and it's quite interesting because he goes, his criteria for why he takes on any particular projects and whatever, and how he approaches it is, he says he never thinks about the audience. He always thinks, you know, am I going to like this?
Yeah. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. And then if he likes it, he knows that other people are going to like it. So, you know, and he says it's the wrong thing to do for a lot of artists, is to try and produce something that someone else is going to be happy with, because you can't necessarily do that, and you can't please all of the people all of the time, and also you'll leave some people behind as well. Some people will only like something as of a moment, and other people will stay with you forever, and they go for the journey.
It's so true.
You know, so
if you don't enjoy it, what's the point in?
Would you like? Would you? Is there a demographic out there, because you can see your demographic? Is there a demographic you haven't hit yet that you'd perhaps like to tap into a little bit more in 2025? People with money.
The younger audience, like 16 to kind of 20.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just my style of music tends to be
sits just above that.
Just a little bit above, yeah. So maybe, that 16 to 20, particularly, but probably a little bit younger than that. You know, they're the ones that are mad onto TikTok and all, you know, and socials as well. They kind of rocket your numbers, don't they? So it would be good to get a little bit of a younger audience.
You're aiming at my daughter, who's like 11 years old. I'll try and get now, you see, this requires effort from people out there watching this. If you're watching this or listening to this and you've got younger members of the family, it's up to you to do this, right? And it's very, very simple. We can all help Molly with this. All you've got to do is you've got to invade their playlist and add a Molly Warburton track. It's very simple. Which is the best? Which track do you think might, of what you've done so far, might actually do the trick there?
I think they're probably going to like my new song,
right,
which is coming out. So that's always a good one to add into playlists.
Can you tell us what it's called or not?
Yeah, it's going to be called One for You.
One for You. So if we can remember that, folks, one for you.
Right. But then Overdrive, my last single, I think it has a good kick to it. It's hard to always pick, isn't it? Because everyone's different. But my aim would be to go. It's kind of that generation of that age group when things are cool.
Yeah.
To kind of get
you know what you need with a song called, like, again, one for you is you need a TikTok dance for that, don't you?
Something like that, but I'm not a dancer.
No, but, well, you might not be. You might not be, but maybe there is. So yeah.
I've tried
Perhaps-
dancing before. It's not for me.
Yeah. If you're watching this and you know someone that's a TikTok dancer and is really, really great at all of that, stuff, which
that stuff that you just did there.
which I'm not going to do, because I'm just I'm very proficient dad dancer. I'll quite happily dad dance on TikTok. I don't think I'll get many views for it. Although, having said that, I did do a TikTok once, which was called "Peeing About on the Guitar," and that got loads of views. I have no idea why. I just think it's perhaps some people are actually into sort of dad type stuff. But if you know someone that can do a TikTok dance, folks, and can really get behind that sort of 1-4, I don't know what it would be, whatever. Look at that. Then let Molly know, and perhaps we can get a TikTok video going viral with your tune, and then you'll be away. You'll be into that demographic straight away.
Yeah,
and that will be one ticked off the list for the year. Thank you so much for coming on and talking a little bit about your music. Do you see how quickly half an hour goes? It just
it's mad, isn't it?
Blows through the curtains like that. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
For the rest of the year. I'm going to watch with anticipation now to see that you're going to appear on the Glastonbury stage at some point soon.
Yes.
All right. I want to see the merch with the t-shirt and the sliced loaf. I think that's going to, Warburtons, if you're listening, this is big, right? This could really sort of take on the other cut sliced loaf manufacturers and crush them to the ground in 2025. But do carry on doing what you're doing, because I really enjoy your music, and thank you for making us all smile and enjoy what you do. So that's brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and if you have an opportunity, do send something for the My Music board as well.
Absolutely. I've just brought out my greatest hits, so I shall send them.
Do you know what? I love that as well, right? The greatest hits whole thing. Just before we go, very quickly, what gave you the inspiration to do a greatest hits thing? Because that is just genius.
It was a bit of tongue in cheek, and the fact that going into 2025, I kind of wanted to round off the last couple of years of my music, going into 2025 with, new stuff. Like I've been writing loads this last year, but going into 2025, new stuff, kind of round all that bit off. And it's nice to have like physical copies of things. It was funny though. I gave them to a couple of my nieces who are like 4 and 5 and handed them.
They were like, "What's that?"
And they were like, literally, they did that. They were like, "What's this?" I was like, "It's a CD." They're like,
Molly, you're talking to the right person here. That, for me, is one of my favorite things to watch on Instagram or whatever, is where like people give old technology to kids and get them to try and use it. VHS recorders, for example, brilliant.
Yeah.
If you've never seen those videos, and they're like sat there and they're trying to poke it, and and just have no idea. They think it's some like computer game thing or whatever. No idea what it does. Oh, the stuff that we used to live by. Even telephones. Once upon a time, you used to have to put your finger in and dial it. Madness. Yeah. It's been an absolute pleasure talking.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on. Folks, this has been the wonderful Molly Warburton. Don't forget the name. Don't forget, there's going to be a new single soon. You're going to want to buy that. When I say buy it, you're going to want to stream it until it's you're completely obsessed with it. Do add it to every playlist that you've possibly got, and your younger friends' playlist as well, so that we get the demographic up. And we'll see Molly on stage at Glastonbury very soon. Thanks, Emily. With Katie Tunstall, who we will put into
manifesting,
making it happen. We'll be back soon with more My Music. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.